Namely Namibian Sun, Republican and Algemeine Zeitung. Thank you for tuning in this morning. We are live on our Facebook platforms. And also I'd like to just acknowledge our sponsors. That's PwC, Liberty, Standard Bank, Alexander Forbes, Nedbank, FNB, and Alan Gray. Thank you so much for your contribution to our Business 7 platform. Now we'd like to just give Siegfried Lange the opportunity to talk to us about leading us with psych in mind. So Siegfried Lange is an acclaimed motivational speaker and author. His theories about the human behavior are uniquely insightful. He has sparked many business direction changes in a variety of fields. Please put our hands together for Siegfried Lange while he leads us in Psych in Mind.
There you go. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you. I just said this morning a few times, it's such a privilege to be able to speak to a greater crowd again after COVID. This is the first time I can look into a big room like this and see people. And to those people that are online also, thank you for watching. It's great to be here with you guys. So we're going to talk about leading with psyche in mind. And I look forward to sharing that with you. But before we start with that, let me quickly give you a little bit of an introduction on what the basis of my talk is going to be about.
Emotional revolution that will transform our world.
Let's give that another try. There you go.
Understanding the laws of nature catapulted us into the Industrial Revolution. Now, understanding the laws of our nature, we will be rocketed into an emotional revolution that will transform our world even more than ever before.
So we want to answer a burning question today. And that burning question is your leadership. Is that the thing that locks your success away? Or is it the key that opens success for your organization? If you are not using the workings of the brain and how people function, it's probably locking away your success possibility. So looking at that whole concept, the laws of our nature, is very much like the laws of nature. Who of you thought of gravity this morning? Is there anyone that thought of gravity? Anyone? Nobody? There you go. We've got, no. That's my smiley face on the back there. Thank you very much for the smiley table. So nobody thought of gravity this morning, and yet gravity impacts your life every second of your life. And the same is true for the laws of our nature. These are laws that impact your life every second of your life. It doesn't matter whether you know about them, whether you acknowledge them, or whether it's not even a thing in your life. It is going to impact your life every second of your life. So let's run through these laws quickly and see how they impact your leadership and your team that you're leading. The first law I would like to speak to you about is a law called the law of search. And the law of search is basically the following. You've all had this situation, or most of you I hope, where you saw some cars around you of a certain brand. And then at one instant you decided, this is the brand I want to purchase. And what then immediately happened is you suddenly saw all these cars around. It feels like it's a conspiracy. Somebody dished out these cars. They weren't there before. Some of you believe those weird and wonderful theories that if you think of it, you create it, and all that kind of stuff, because suddenly you see all these cars. Now, that is what we call the law of search. The law of search doesn't say that you create things. The law of search doesn't say you attract things. The law of search basically just says, when you start searching for a certain thing, you're going to see more of it. Now, all of us have heard similar theories about this in the past, and it's interesting and it's funny sometimes, but so what? Let's think about it. Recently, I was asked to do a talk at an organization, and just before I remember, they asked me to come speak so that I can help the people cope better with COVID. Yeah, that was the intention. Just before I start speaking, the one gentleman stands up and says, I just want to tell you guys, it's very dangerous these days, and you need to just be careful, not only of COVID, which is dangerous, obviously, but you need to be careful of this, that, and the other thing. Now, I was supposed to come and help these people search for better things, yeah? And this guy started out with some statements, getting everyone searching for the danger out there and making them more fearful than before. Now, did he do that intentionally? No. Is he a good leader? He's a great leader. But he doesn't understand how people's minds work. And therefore, he's the lock, he's not the key. We need to consider when we speak to our people, what are we getting them searching for? And the more intentional we are on that, the more success we will have. Because if you walk into a room and say, I don't know how we're going to survive this, what is everyone searching for? How am I going to survive? Okay? If you walk into the room and say, I've always wondered how we can benefit from this situation. Can anyone tell me how we can grow our organization in this time? Maybe you won't get answers straight away, but your people will start searching. I once worked with a team where they called themselves a toxic team. It wasn't other people that called them toxic. They called themselves toxic, okay? And I came in, and the intention was basically just to find out what exactly the challenge is. But I always like to stop a session with a challenge. So I said to them, okay, I'm going to see you. We could only get another appointment in 3 weeks' time. I'm going to see you in 3 weeks' time. But up until then, every day, working day for the next 3 weeks, I want you to send one of your colleagues an email thanking them for what they did the previous day. And you may not send the same email twice, and you may not send an email to the same person in a week twice. 3 weeks later, I came back, and it was a transformed team. I just got them to search for what was good about that team. How many of you have listened to your staff, and you thought, if half of what you're saying is true, then we shouldn't be existing anymore? And that is because they're searching for the wrong things. But why are people searching for the wrong things? Why do we have that situation when somebody coughs somewhere in the room, immediately all those questions start coming up? The biggest fear that any person like myself has is to get a cough. I am so grateful to God that this is the first winter that I haven't had a cough. I was doing everything to keep that cough away, man. So why is that though? Why does one little cough make us all freaky and fearful? I think the answer to that is found in two of the laws, the law of self and the law of slip. Let me explain them quickly, and then I'll show how that works. So the law of self says you will always think of yourself first. Some of you are sitting and thinking, no, I'm not like that. I'm not a narcissist. I don't think of myself first. But we all start there. Now, some of us take our thoughts away slower than others. Those are the people that we refer to as narcissists. They're basically all about themselves the whole time. Yeah, A narcissist treats other people like I would treat this clicker. I cherish it now. It's valuable to me. It gives me some skills. It gives me some powers here. But as soon as I'm done with this talk, it gets thrown into the bag. It's expensive, so I won't treat it that badly. But it gets thrown into the bag, and I forget about it. And I might even mistreat it. And that's how narcissists treat other people. Narcissists don't even like other narcissists. Nobody likes narcissists, okay? We like the people that are very fast at taking their thoughts away from themselves. We like those people, ne? You know why? Because they're all about us. Yeah, thank you for that chuckle over there. Okay. So when we are sick and tired and stressed or very panicky about COVID, we start to become, we don't have the energy to take away our thoughts from ourselves, and we start to become a little bit narcissistic. I'm sure you've seen it around you. People's become more and more about themselves these days. Yeah. The second law is the law of slip. Now, the law of slip says you will always go to the worst first. And I've had people argue with me about this as well. Now remember, I'm not saying you only go there. I'm saying you go there first, then you take your thoughts away there, and you put it at a better place. That's what you do. Okay. So you don't only go there. So some people are slower at taking it away, obviously. We know those people. They are draining. You don't want to be close to them. I hope you're not one of them. Then there are other people that are so fast at taking their thoughts away, you start thinking they're on drugs or something, because they're just, I'm so glad, it's so wonderful, even COVID is not a problem. And you think, okay, all right. So those two laws together link up to what I call the wild horse rule. Now the wild horse rule is basically you think the worst about yourself first. This is why if somebody coughs in the corner there, your first thought is going to be, I'm going to get sick. And that's why you start panicking when that happens. Now, it's important to know this as leaders as well. Because as leaders, we often think it's about us. You know, you're not the center of the universe. You're not that important, okay? So you are important, but not that important. Everything doesn't happen because of you. Yeah, even if you are a leader of a big team, everything doesn't happen because of you, okay? But now let me show you what happens. So what is the first thing people think when they get called into the office? Who can give that a try? You get called into the office, I'm going to get fired. That's taking it to the next level, okay? So you get called into the office, the first thing you think is, I'm going to get fired, or I'm in trouble, or I did something wrong. Now, you walk to the office. Imagine the person you're reporting to just wants to talk about something, a report or something, whatever. You walk into that office like this. That person sees you walking in like that, and their wild horse goes crazy. They think you want to fight with them. Now they are freaking out, and they need to protect themselves. So they become aggressive towards you. And you think to yourself, you see, they only want to fight with me, these people. They just have bad intentions. So you have two people, both of them will tell you the other one had bad intentions. But actually you've got two wild horses that are attacking each other. And these two people don't realize that is happening within them. As leaders, we need to realize what we say causes wild horses. What we do causes wild horses. And we need to be very aware of that. And we need to be very aware of our own wild horses and tame them or kill them or something like that. Great. So that is the wild horse rule. Now, if I asked you what or who is to blame for our economy struggling at the moment, what would you say? The Chinese. So, yeah. Well done. So, who is to blame? Who is to blame for the violence in our home? Corporal punishment. Okay. Interesting. Who's to blame for the high numbers of joblessness? Say again, COVID. Government. Okay. So, yeah, that's the one good thing. Government is off the hook at the moment, and people don't say that anymore. It's now something else, yeah. It's a shame. They were, at one stage, they always had the blame for everything. Now, what I want to say to you at the moment is if you thought of something you could blame for any one of those three questions, you're probably not doing anything about it. Because that is what the law of stick says. We find something to blame, and as soon as we found something to blame, we have no responsibility anymore. Yeah? Because I can blame something, then I don't need to take responsibility anymore. Now, there's no big challenge with finding what the problem is. But if it stays a problem, if you stay pro-blaming, then you're never going to find a solution. We need to find solutions. We need to have a challenge mentality as leaders. And we need to help our people to find solutions as well. A lot of people walk around and the thing that they're blaming is COVID. And because they can blame COVID, they're not doing what they can do. And we as leaders need to help our people to realize it doesn't help you if you blame something. You need to take responsibility for what you can do. And we tend to focus on the things, because of the wild horse rule, we tend to focus on the things we don't have control over. And the more we focus on the things we don't have control over, guess what we're searching for? The things we don't have control over. And that ends up with a group of people that feel powerless because we're not managing our laws of our nature. So that was the law of stick. Let's help our people not to blame, not to do the blame game, but to take responsibility. The next one is the law of significance. Now, every person in this room has something that makes them valuable. If I asked you to write something down now that makes you valuable, a big percentage of you wouldn't be able to write that down. Some of you would write things down that you're not completely sure about. We don't really spend time thinking about what is it that makes me valuable. But whatever makes you valuable works like the engine in a car. It's that thing that drives you to do things. And yet we don't know what makes us valuable. And this is why, at times, we don't understand why we're doing the weird and wonderful things we're doing. It's because we don't know what makes us valuable. We don't have a clue. If we did, a lot of the things we do would be more understandable. Now, if you want to have something that makes you valuable, that is really good for your life, it must be something that never changes. Because imagine you have a car with an engine that changes the whole time. It has great performance now, tomorrow it doesn't start. You don't want a car like that. Why do you want a life like that? And it must not be linked to your performance, because performance needs to be maintained. And if it needs to be maintained, as soon as it doesn't work, you're not going to have the energy to maintain it, and then you crash on yourself. So, how does that help us as leaders? Now, everyone has got a core thing that they link their value to. We can change it. We can. But also we have some things in the peripheral that gives us value. Now, if you spend enough time with your people to understand what gives them value, what they think makes them valuable, and you can link their work that they're doing every day with the value link they have, work is going to be far more fun. Yeah? It's going to be far more fun. I do this exercise with people where I ask them, okay, so what you do every day, how does that impact my grandmother? And people look at me like I'm crazy. But when they can answer me that question, then they are far more happy to do what they are doing. I once had a team of cleaners that I worked with, and they were difficult to manage. Their leader was just losing his mind because these people were just so difficult. And they asked me to help with this group of cleaners. And the first thing I asked them is, what do you do? And they mentioned where they clean, in the corridors, in the offices, and all over the place. And then in the end, I asked them, so the toilets at your office must be really, really dirty. And then some of them stuck up their hands and said, yeah, we clean the toilets too. And they were embarrassed of that. They were very proud of what the other people in the organization do, because they knew their organization is really important. And we spent some time, and I asked them to tell me what would happen to those people that do the important work if the toilets were not cleaned. And we came to the conclusion that those people would get sick. And that important work that these people are doing would never be done. And that the people whose lives are impacted by the work these people are doing would never be impacted. And that light went on, and they realized that what they're doing is valuable. It's important. Suddenly what they were doing somehow gave them value. A few months later, the supervisor, it was one of my most amazing experiences. I was standing, I know exactly where it was, there by the post office in Independence. I was standing there, I'm intending to cross, and suddenly somebody screams from a distance, Ziggy, Ziggy! I felt like a celebrity. It was so cool. And he came running to me, and it was a supervisor, and he said to me, dude, you won't believe how easy it is to manage these people now. He was one of my best ambassadors. He tried to get me into every place he went to work at. And it was just showing people how what they do every day impacts my grandmother. I've got an amazing grandmother. So the next law is the law of significance. The law of significance, the next law is the law of simplify. There I confused myself. Next law is the law of simplify. Now the law of simplify basically says, in order for our brain to save energy, we create groups. We create in-groups and we create out-groups. The in-groups are the people that we see as the same as us, and we know that they are very different. Yeah? But the out-groups are all the same, so that we can understand them better. Talking about the Chinese that you mentioned earlier, I have a Chinese friend. His name is Galen. When Galen came to Namibia probably about 13 years ago, he used to not understand a lot of things. So Galen would often come to me and say to me, Ziggy, can you help me? And I said, yes, Galen, what can I help you with? And the one time I'll never forget, he had this big problem for himself. He said, Ziggy, and I could see it was embarrassing, but he said, Ziggy, you guys all look the same. And every time I tell Galen's story, I have that response. People laugh. Why? Because you think all people from China look the same, yeah? Yeah? And that is, in itself, is not necessarily a bad thing. It is you saving energy. But the flow from that is what is bad. Because your wild horse is going to make you connect things to these group of people. You're going to take one negative example and you're going to make it the people. Yeah? There are amazing Chinese people. Yeah? But still, we would say the Chinese. Yeah? Now, think about that. But that is a little bit far away, so let's bring it a little bit closer. My teenage son came to me one day and he said to me, Dad, I'm so frustrated with these old people because they always say we don't have drive, we don't have vision, we don't work hard. Dad, me and my friends, we know exactly what we want, we work hard. And I started laughing and he said to me, why are you laughing, Dad? I've got an issue here. And I said to him, do you realize that you're doing to the old people? And I felt very good because if he tells me I'm not an old person. If you say this about the old people, aren't you doing exactly the same thing to them that you are complaining about? And the penny dropped for him. But how about men and women? Men would say, all women are like this. Women would say, all men are... We never give an animal to their description, yeah? We guys are better towards you ladies than you are towards us, I think. Anyway, but the thing is, we would ascribe a certain behavior to a group of people that we see as not like us. Then there's different tribes. It would be easy for you to say, that tribe does this, or that tribe does this. But you know that people from your own tribe are not all the same. A lot of us sit here today and we don't identify with the people in our own tribe even. But you would still say that tribe. Skin color is the same thing. When we adopted my youngest son, Nathaniel, we got the most weird and wonderful questions. Some of those questions made me very angry, some of them only a little angry. But very basic example, somebody asked me just the other day, what language do you speak to him? Like your skin color would determine the language you would speak? I mean, really? But people don't think. People don't think. Yeah. Because the skin color is a different group. You group them all together. And you think they speak that language. They eat that food. They do these things. And it's not true. It's not true. So, language is one of those things as well. When I tell people I'm German, I always feel like I need to just classify. I'm a nice German, eh? Why is that necessary? Okay. Why is that necessary? Religion is the same thing. We know people in our own religion are all different. You know people in your own church are different. Why do you think people in another church are all the same? Why do we make that mistake? Different departments. IT always thinks things about marketing, and marketing things about IT. They're all the same, aren't they? Yeah. Then Exco would speak of the staff as if it's one person. They're not. There are individuals in your team. I just want to share that. But if you think you're off the hook, staff members often speak about management. And that's one person, isn't it? That management is one person. Yeah? We group people together. HR, finances, we group people together. Now, this grouping causes silos in your organization. And as leaders, you need to be very aware that this is a very natural dynamic, but it's not a healthy dynamic. And the way you want to change that is by helping people interact with others more and break down those silos and maybe throw their net of who is like me a little bit further. Wouldn't it be great if we could all just say we're all human beings and we're all the same in essence, and then from there appreciate the difference? Wouldn't that make life easier? Then there's probably the most important law I put at the end for this time we're in. And it's the law of supremacy. Now, the law of supremacy basically states that people want to feel in control. People don't want to have control. They want to feel in control. There's a very significant difference. And normally when we deal with change that fails, We always get called in when it failed already. I wish people would call us in before it fails. But when we walk in and we help organizations with change that failed, the big thing that made it fail is because people felt out of control. How does that happen? You have a decision made in senior management. We know we need to speak to the next level, but they're going to freak out. So let's dumb it down for them and not give them all the information. But your people are clever enough to know that you're not telling them everything. Their wild horses tell them, you're not telling them everything because they're going to get fired. Yeah? Then they're freaking out. What do people do to create a feeling of control in an organization or in their lives? What is the main thing you think? What do? They strike. Well, then possibly, yes, that is one thing. What else? Yes.
They defend themselves.
They do. They become defensive. Yeah, they defend themselves. There's one thing that leaders do not realize. People start gossiping. Because if I can make up a story, I feel in control about that area that I made up a story about. And I start gossiping. And gossiping is normally one of the core things that breaks down the change initiative. We need to be very careful that our wild horses don't prevent us from sharing information that people need to be able to navigate this difficult time that we're all in. We need to be bold enough to communicate the information in a sensible way, obviously, that people need to hear to navigate this time. You need to know that people's wild horse is going to tell them they're going to get fired even if it doesn't make sense. Because they know 5 or 6 people that got fired in this time, that did lose their job. We need to know as leaders that if we don't give people enough information, they'll start searching for things they shouldn't be searching for because of the wild horse. As leaders, we play a very important role in this time. Firstly, we must manage ourselves through the laws of our nature and other information you can get. I just spoke to somebody this morning that did an assessment and said, hey, it was a life-changing thing. There are things out there that we can use to get to know ourselves better so that we can manage ourselves and our emotions better, so that we can manage other people and their emotions better. So, I felt like if I do this talk today and I don't give something back at least, to thank you for allowing me to speak to a group that's larger than 20. It's so cool to see all of you. I can't tell you how nice it is to stand here in front and see smiling people. Thank you for my smiley table in the back there. You guys are really good. So I want to give something back. We have a online training for emotional intelligence that's valued at $4,665. I want to give one of those trainings away. And how we're going to do that is if you have your card with you, I've got that box. Oh, can you see the box? Just imagine you can. And then the box is over there as well. Just put your card in there. We'll have a draw a little bit later. And the person that we draw will get that online training. You can use it for yourself or for whoever. Maybe you think your boss should go on the online training, or that's the other interesting thing, the law of stick. The law of stick. Whenever I do emotional intelligence or leadership training, whenever I do that, there's always at least one person that says, but they should get that training. So we do defend ourselves that way as well, where we just make other people guilty. So I've got cards here as well. If you don't have your card, I've got some pens over here. You can write your name in there and just throw it into the box. We'll give you time just now as we start mingling and chilling. And you can put it in there, we'll draw that. For the people online, we've got something for you guys as well. There's a series of prompts that we put together also in our online training called From Lustful to Loving Leadership. And the thing there is basically, love is me focusing on someone for the benefit of that person. Lust is that same thing focused on me. And a lot of leaders are focused on themselves instead of on their team. And it actually pans out when people hear that title, they think, oh, Ziggy wants to teach us how to be soft and cuddly. No, you actually don't give your people feedback that they need, or feed forward if it's done correctly, that they need because you love yourself so much. You don't want to put yourself in a difficult situation. If you love other people as much as you love yourself, you might give them the feedback that they need to grow as a leader. Yeah. And then everyone that is here, I've got the commitment that I'll get your information, and we will send you a voucher that you could get a 10% discount on the next training that we're going to be doing starting in August. Great. So that is from my side. I hope you will use the laws.
Understanding the laws of
and
nature
grow your team.
catapulted
Thank
us
you.
into the Industrial Revolution. Now, understanding the laws of our nature, we will be rocketed into an emotional revolution that will transform our world
Dankie vir die
even
smiles.
more than ever before.
There's a roaming mic that will pass by, and so anybody that has anything to ask, enige vrae?
So, there you go. I like all the nice Germans. Yeah, you can.
Now the question now, if you find that you have somebody in your team who's one of those negative type people, what would be your typical approach towards turning him into somebody who sees his own value?
Yeah. I think as leaders we need to realize we never have control, but we always have influence. And that's probably the biggest challenge we have in our surrounding, that as leaders we have this illusion that we should have control over people, and therefore our influence is not as powerful as it can be. And the biggest tool to influence is not saying something, but asking something. So that person, I would consistently ask them about things that are going well. Because as soon as I do that, if I do that repeatedly, I'm going to force them to search for the good stuff. And it's like a spiral. They got to the point where they got now because they started searching for the bad stuff. And when you search for bad things, it's like the car. You're going to see more of it. Yeah? And some people are even very proud of it. They would tell you, I'm just the devil's advocate. You know what the answer is to that one? Maybe you should get another employer. Okay, so helping them through questions to search for the better thing and not telling them what the better thing is. We always want to tell people. I think it's far more powerful to ask questions. If you look at the original cultures, that was always part of the greatest desired learning, is to ask good questions. Yeah. So asking good questions is very important. And I've developed a theory about questioning called the questioning quadrants. So there are 4 types of questions that you could ask. The one question is to prove that you are right, which is not the one you want to ask in that instance. The other one is to gain insight for yourself. And that is the one that we ask most of the time. And then there is to help other people to create their insight. And that's what you want to do. You want to ask questions about something you might even know the answer to, but you want that person to verbalize it, because then it's not you trying to force feed them something. It is them telling you what is good. And then the 4th one is the one that I think any leader that wants to create more creativity in their organization needs to learn to ask this type of question. And that's the question that you ask where you don't know the answer to, but you know the other person also doesn't know the answer to it. And it's a scary question to ask, but it is probably the one question that has the most amazing results, because then we grow together as we ask those questions. In my coaching sessions, I've actually had situations where I ask clients, so there are 3 solutions to your challenge that you have at the moment. What do you think they are? And I don't have a clue what solutions they are. But because I told him there are 3, and because he respects me and he wants to be on the same page as me, he starts to mention solutions. And I'm like, what? That's amazing. And that is what you can do with your team as well. If you ask somebody, what would Bill Gates do in this thing? Or what would whoever you want to think of do in this situation? They often have a solution which they wouldn't have if they think of themselves. Because of our wild horse, we prevent ourselves from going. Yes, I see there's a hand.
Thanks, Siggy. It was wonderful to listen to you.
Thank you.
I think any energy, even if it's negative, is still better than no energy. So what do you do with people that has apathy?
So people that have apathy normally have apathy because they don't see meaning in life anymore. Now, obviously, there can be physical reasons for it, and one needs to check that as well. Yeah. One must remember that we are not only we're also a physical being, and physical things can cause apathy as well. But if that's not the case, getting somebody to reflect on what the meaning of life is, of their life, getting them to interact with other people that might tell them how important it is to have them around, you mentioning to that person why you think they are significant in your life, that I find has got the ability to kind of start that engine going in a more positive way. But I do realize apathy is difficult. For the people around them as well, because you feel that person doesn't acknowledge you even. And I think there we need to just manage our own wild horse and realize it's that person's challenge that they're going through, not necessarily me that they're going through. I love, so my oldest brother works at the railway. He has no formal education, but he's got a lot of wisdom. And one day he had his son with him at the railway, and there were a couple of guys working there. And after a while, his son was a teenager at that stage. After a while, his son came to him and said to him, "Dad, I need to go home." And my brother said to him, "Why?" He said to him, "Those people are laughing because of me the whole time." And my brother gave the most insightful answer. He said to him, "Do you really think you're that important?" And people think that he was cruel, but he wasn't cruel. He was teaching his son that the whole universe doesn't rotate around you, okay? Not everything around you happens because of you. And as soon as you kind of realize that because if you're in that place, you tend to always condemn. Either when everything goes well, you'll condemn other people for not having it all together. And if things don't go well, you'll condemn yourself for not having it all together. And that's the challenge of being in that center the whole time. I hope that answers your question.
Hi. People are afraid at the moment.
Yes.
Afraid that they might get sick, that their family might get sick. They're worried they might lose their jobs and their houses. How does one manage that fear in an organization? Because the more fear there is, it impacts on productivity.
Yes, for sure. It's very significant. So in the lockdown time, I created some videos to help people deal with what COVID is going to bring. They're on my YouTube channel for free. 10 of those videos are about fear because it's such a significant point. I think one of the most important points is understanding exactly what you're fearful of. Because very often, because we don't spend the time to really think about what exactly is the core of my fear, we're not able to manage it. So I find that as soon as people sit down and we have a discussion about what exactly is it, what is the core that you're fearing, then you can actually do something about your fear. And I think being open about it and having group discussions on what is the fear that we have will give you as a leader insight into what can be done. Because very often I find that leaders make a decision about what makes their team fearful, and that decision is based on personal kind of point of view and not necessarily on the team's point of view. So, for example, you would have a leader that says, oh, my team is just concerned about getting fired. So he's repeatedly telling them, yeah, your job is secure, your job is secure, yeah? And meanwhile, the core of their fear is possibly that their family is going to be endangered by the work that they're doing at the moment, where they're exposed to the virus. And so being told the whole time your job is secure is not helping their fear at all. And the leader is then frustrated because why are these people still fearful? I'm telling them their job is secure. Does that make sense to you? So I think knowing exactly what we are fearful about and having a clear understanding on that is very, very important in an organization. Great. Cool.
Thank you, Siegfried. From NMH, we'd just like to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with us this morning. And we appreciate it. And I think we all enjoyed what you had presented to us this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. There you go. Thank you.
Now we would like to welcome Mr. Derek Breyers on stage. We have our InTouch scanner in front there. So Derek will talk about that and help you understand what the whole scanning situation is all about. Derek, are you going to stand here? Okay.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. Okay, so most of you would have scanned in with the digital C19 registry solution this morning, and thank you for taking the time to register on the system. So while they're just quickly getting the presentation ready, we started building this system about 6 weeks ago, and we really feel that it will contribute in the economy to have a contactless solution that people can get into businesses. Okay. Without fear of having to touch pens and papers. You can sanitize the pen that people write in a book at your business premises, but you can't sanitize the paper without destroying the information. So that's why we developed the system. And I'm just briefly going to take you through some of the benefits and how it works, as we have limited time. So cost-wise, the system is really cost-effective. We give it for free to churches, charity organizations, and to schools. Also, if you've got a small business, we don't charge any money. Our first plan starts at $39 a month, which is literally a small hamburger without the chips. So cost-wise, we're not really after the money. We're trying to get the system in the market as quickly and as far as possible. And then just quickly, most of you would have seen how the system works. So I'll just briefly take you through this little demonstration. So you register on the C19 website, c19.com.na, and you click on the QR code scanner. The QR codes will be available at the moment. We've got 334 businesses signed up. And you click on the second screen on that big QR button there. It will then open your camera. The first time your phone might ask you to allow the service. So just click on allow. We're not stealing any information from you. And once you've scanned the QR code, you signed in. It's as quick and as easy as that. All of your data that you registered with is kept in the database. It's kept secure. One of the added benefits is that once you've scanned in, you will see there's a little view our specials button. So for a business, this is a free opportunity for them to communicate with the customers walking into their business with the details and the specials that they might have. So in this case, I just linked it to a website. Our own one I've linked to Instagram, but you can literally upload a PDF. One of the retail shops, we've linked it to their retail specials, so people can have that PDF or that normal supplement that you've got in the newspapers in your hand while you're walking around in the business. So easy to use. What's also important is the fact that all of your data, so your ID number, your cell phone number, all of that data we encrypt. So when you submit and when you register, we're encrypting that data to make sure that there's no one that can get access to your data and your information. When there's a couple places that when I scan or write in the mornings my name, you can see a lot of details. One of the places I go regularly, you have to write your next of kin and their contact number as well. The protection of privacy is zero on that. I've seen people take photographs of that. I've heard people getting phone calls from weird people all of a sudden. We're all a little bit weird, but anyway. And then another important feature is that we've got the exit function. When you write in a book, people will only know you were there that day, maybe at the time that you entered. But with this one, you can see you scan the exit QR code, and now you're clocked out of that business, which is also important. So you were only in that shop for, let's say, 45 minutes. And you're not then in the crosshairs when people are saying, okay, someone that had a positive case walked into the shop at 2 o'clock, they don't even look at you because you left at 9:45. So a very important feature that we've built in. Here's just a little how the backend will work. So I'm not going to bore you with details. The backend gives you access to quickly upload specials, to print more QR codes, etc., etc. But that's not the detail of this discussion. All that I want you to do is get the word out there, register your businesses on c19.com.na, and let's see if we can make Namibia a safer place. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Derek. InTouch will be sending out an SMS with a link to a questionnaire just on today's event. We'd just like to pick your brains on what you thought of the event and what we can do in the future to improve it. Now we'd like to give Carmen Stenger an opportunity to close off. Carmen Stenger is the team leader of the marketing department in our private and public sector.
Hello, everybody. We would just like to say thank you to all our speakers today. Crystal, of course, for always leading the procedures. Then we'd also like to thank Derek. He and his In-Touch team are always coming up with different gadgets and everything, and we at NMH always have to figure it out first, but we're getting there, so he's just trying to make our lives easier. And of course, Mr. Siegfried Lange, thank you so much for your positive insights. I really think everybody is going to walk away just a little bit more hopeful. Like Crystal said, my name is Carmen Stenger. I am the NMH Marketing and Sales Team Leader, and I'm also a nice German. Another one. I just want to really say thank you to all our esteemed guests for joining us this morning. I hope you had a beautiful breakfast, which gave you a lot of energy for the day ahead. I just also want to thank our events team, who always make all of this possible. Ari Bush for the beautiful venue, for the beautiful breakfast. Again, the events team and Crystal for organizing everything, the nice decor, making sure everything runs smoothly. I also want to thank my CEs that are here today, my client executives who are always here, helpful, helping, smiling, making everyone feel welcome. Then also my CEs at the office who are holding the fort. And then also those CEs that are working remotely because we had to do a little bit of shifts in case COVID breaks out at NMH. So thank you for you. Then I just want to remind everybody, our medical focus is being published on the 22nd of September. I think most of you know about our medical focus. It's really one of our big focuses this year. Again, it's mind, body, and soul, but this year it's just to bring hope and to take away a little bit of the fear of COVID-19 and just to empower and enlighten everybody. If you want to take part, please contact Anushka Dutoy. She is the medical project coordinator. Anushka, there she is. She left you all love letters on the table, so you have all of her details. So please contact her if you want to take part. If you want any information, please contact her. And then to our viewers that are tuning in, thank you for joining us. Please stay tuned because at 11, Klets Kompas is here live from the Arabush venue, and Henriette Lamprecht and Ronel Rademeyer will be talking to Hein Venter just a little bit on medical aids and what is happening in COVID-19. But thank you again for joining us, and I hope you have a lovely day.
Oopsie, daar breek ik die boksie.
That's all right. That's great. Geen probleem.
Okay,
So we're going to draw.
yeah.
I think let you draw.
Ek draw.
Ja, jy moet draw. Say.
Okay, so we have, sorry if I pronounce this incorrectly, Iani de Kok.
Say. There you go.
Fantastic, thank you.
I hope to see you online. There you go. Great, thank you. The other one, we're going to have to look at the comments to draw.
All right, thank you, everybody. You can stay behind and mingle, have some more coffee if you'd like, and then have a lovely day.
Cool. Hey, excellent. Cool, man. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.